How you doing?
Good. Woke up strong and nice.
Niceness. And I'm sure with the gift of life right now, you are enjoying every conversation about the music industry, specifically on hip life, that
Of
is
course.
trending and making
Of
waves.
course. Of course. It's interesting. It's interesting to see how deeply people are interested in this whole hip life story, and it tells me that we have a chance, to reestablish this if we'll get things properly done. You know, for me, at some point, hip life became so strong to the point where two of Africa's most powerful economies accepted hip life and recognized hip life to the point where we were being awarded, at Cora. To get on Cora, it was like getting on the African Grammy, and hip life artists were prominent on Cora year on year on, So we've made a few mistakes letting the whole prominence dwindle, but from the interest that this whole thing is generating, I feel like we can really get back to work and place it back where it used to be and even advance it further.
Okay. Well, Ruta, this one, I want to find out. I have like very simple questions, two simple questions generally.
Right.
First one would be your observation. I don't know if you've read the article fully and what you make of it.
To be very honest, I think that it's not anything. It's not anything out of order. It is just everyone making an attempt to be recognized where greatness is being recognized. So for me, yeah, it's okay, except that we shouldn't get too overambitious. That's the truth. We shouldn't be too overambitious because at the end of the day, if I say we, I mean the class of 1994 up to like the early 2000s cannot count ourselves to be amongst the greats, when the Nanam Pedus and the J. Adolfos and Opambos were, playing the game. We were not there at the time. Do you get it? And we cannot claim to be part of that. That phase of history. The phase of our Ghanaian music history where we came in and made ourselves, count was between 1994 up to like 2000. So that's where we belong. Anybody else, anybody who's playing a role in this whole thing has the phase where they entered. And that's where I think they must, if anybody's clamoring for recognition, you need to do that where you came in. Do you get it? So I feel that Honorable Satekla came in. I noticed him and started talking about him. Stonebwoy from 2009.
Okay.
And so from 2009, Hip Life had even, for want of a better word, had taken a nosedive. Hip Life had its time and everything and had fizzled out somehow. Do you get it? So if the story is being told properly, if the story of Hip Life is being told properly, it would not include anybody that came in after 2005.
Okay.
Anybody that came after 2005 would not be recorded, in the story of Hip Life, because it all started from, officially from like 1994 up to like 2005.
Oh, okay.
So anybody that came outside that bracket wouldn't be recognized by the connoisseurs of the music, of the genre.
Okay. Well, with respect to the article, based on your last statement, that means if the story of Hip Life is to be told, or if there's going to be an article documenting the success of Hiplife, then there wouldn't be a need to include a younger generation of artists who, as it is, might want to identify themselves as Hiplife artists. Am I right if I push this direct narrative?
Yes, you will be right. You will be right, because you see, and this is my opinion. Okay, so I will say that the younger generation came in to bury Hiplife. Okay, they came in to bury Hiplife, and I'm talking when the Tema group, yes, the Tema group took over. Okay, when the Tema group took over, the likes of Sack, D-Crime, name them. When they took over, that's when Hiplife, got buried.
Okay.
Okay, and let me explain that part. You see, at some point, anyone who's been in this business for a while will agree that at some point, Hiplife became boring. That's the truth. Or that's how I see it, okay? It became boring. So the younger generation who thought they could do something better than what had been left for them decided to give it a different name. Okay? So they started coming up with all kinds of coinages. People mentioned trip-hop, hip-hop, whatever, because they felt a bit uncomfortable associating with it, because at that point, it had become, it had become almost like what we are seeing now. Like with this Amapiano thing, anybody goes into the studio, finds a few lines, and repeats those lines, and they put the song out.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, that is how Hiplife became. Okay? People would just go to Mr. Quay and say, oh, this guy, the way this guy in Ting, right after Yahoo Ya, okay?
Yeah.
Madfish's hit song. Everybody that was going to JQ wanted something that sounded exactly like Madfish's song. I can't remember the title of the song, but that song was a huge
That's
song.
supposed to be Yahoo Ya.
It was Yahoo Ya. I think he had a name. It had a name. Yeah. Yahoo Ya, yeah. That song. Big song.
And it had the famous JQ pattern.
It was JQ. That song was done by JQ.
Yeah.
You see, and from when that song blew, prior to that song, there had been many other hits, but that one, in my opinion, came to stamp JQ's authority. Okay? And the whole traffic just got directed to Hush Hush. And that was when you go and meet about 50 artists waiting in a queue to be given the same beat to sing their thing on. And then that's when everybody from high school, they would just go into the studio, pay for time, and then go and sing their school jama on the thing. At some point, it became so monotonous, it became so boring, that when the boys from Tema, who thought, Tema, they only a guide, time, Tema for a guy. So when they felt that, this thing, we don't want to associate with this, we can do better than this, they decided to just disassociate themselves from Hiplife and create something different. That's when Hiplife started taking that nosedive.
Oh, okay.
Do you get it? And this started, I cannot recollect the exact year, but I can say that this happened around when D-Crime, Sack, and all of those, young people started coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You get Yaosiki and all those people, when they started coming.
That's supposed to be around 2010, 2009, 2010-ish.
There you go.
Yeah.
I will agree with you. So I think that it was around that time that the whole Hiplife revolution kind of settled down. You get it?
Okay.
And then the new era started.
Oh,
Okay. So anybody that came after 2010 going should just excuse those that played the game between 1994 up to like 2010.
Okay.
I think that bracket is where the league took place.
Okay. Okay, Ruta, let me ask this question, right? so the article documents 10 essentials to Ghanaian hip life. And in that article, we can find artists who, according to your narrative, buried the whole hip life culture. And that would include Sarkodie, that would include Kim Paluta, that would include artists like Black Sherif, of which his image is even the featured image on the article. Do you feel that the article itself did justice to the cause, as it, with respect to the subject that they attacked?
Not at all. Not at all. But guess what? I was so excited when I saw the article. I was so excited. One, for the fact that Grammy is beginning to pay attention to us. In fact, they've been paying attention to us for a very long time, but this article proved that they really are interested in what we have been doing. Okay? But on the other hand, I was also quite disappointed because there were so many inaccuracies in that article. Okay? But
kindly share some of them with us.
Okay, I wasn't hurt by the fact that it captured all these because you see all these young people who came in after 2010 from let's say 2009 upwards were all great fans of hip life because there cannot be any one of them who were not a fan of a Lord Kenya or an Obrafo or a Reggie Rockstone, all of them were like hip life fanatics. But they thought that they could do something better than what had become of hip life. And so they started inventing something that they thought was going to cut. Unfortunately, that process buried hip life. But it doesn't take away the fact that all these people were crazy hip life hits.
Okay.
You get it? So, for me, whoever that wrote the article mentioned all these people because he saw all these people, all these names come up during the end times of hip life.
Mm.
That's what I'm thinking. But it's great because at the end of the day, hip life aside, these are our biggest exports at the moment. The Sax, the Wales, the Stones, and these are the people, Blacko, these are the people who are showing us to the world.
Okay.
You get it? But the little mishap is that maybe they should have been mentioned in another article or maybe something that did not really sound the way this article sounded. And to be very honest with you, when I only glanced through the article because I was like, oh, who did this? This is nice, but nah. So I did not, and I haven't really read through the whole piece.
Okay.
Because for me, it will mess my mood up. So I haven't really read through the whole thing. And that's the truth. I just can't through. Okay, I just can't through, and it's because I don't like imperfections. Sorry, yes, I don't like imperfections. It has to be done right.
Okay.
It has to be done. But we cannot fault whoever that did that. Because at the end of the day, it's generated some conversation. That's why we're here talking. Mm-hmm. So it's great, But for me, it tells me that we need to lace our boots and get to work because there's some attention out there for us.
Definitely. Well, you sounded like you're not so happy with the documentation of hip life. So if I'm here thinking a document that is on hip life should be centered on people within the year that is the 1994 to the early 2000s who actively participated in the proliferation of the music genre, right? Then if there's another article that is talking about the hip life and its influences, then we include these artists. Am I right?
You have captured it so perfectly.
Fantastic. So
you have captured it so perfectly.
So would that being said, that means you're not, or you do not agree with Stonebwoy's claim that he should have been mentioned within the context of this article?
At all. At all. I think that Honorable Satekla at the moment, we without a doubt, is our strongest spear. Okay, when it comes to finding a place for Ghana music at this particular moment. I, with all due respect to Blacko and all the young ones who've come and are making the waves, but for me, and I've stopped calling him Stoneboy, I'm calling him Honorable Satekla because he's at the moment, musically, he's the greatest Ghanaian music ambassador. But yes, because this man is sending us places where we never thought we would be. Dude, I'm telling you, the young man is taking us places where we never imagined. See, the guy is living if we have to be honest, he's living the life, or he's actually living the dreams that most of us had and couldn't attain. And he's doing, we're living through him. We're living our dreams through this guy. So we cannot water down his contribution or the role that this guy is playing for us at this moment. But I'm saying that the Hiplife story started from 1994, dwindled in you said 2010, and I remember by 2010, yes, Honorable Satekla had come out because I remember recording a song with him in Kewa Studio back in 2010 or 11, I think, and then why did I even want to do a song with him? Because he had already broken out. He had already blown. So he was there. But at that time, I'm not sure he would have called his music Hiplife.
Okay.
Do you get it? At that time, he wouldn't call the music Hiplife. Because at that time, who wanted to have anything to do with Hiplife? I'm being honest. Who wanted to be to be referred to as
it wasn't trending anymore.
No,
it wasn't cool.
Let me use the word. It had become Yawa.
Why Yawa?
At that time, they are saying no. Yamana only talent be our studio so but we didn't be money. So we all started saying all kinds of things.
Okay.
Some years ago, I made a statement regarding this thing, how Hiplife took the nosedive, and Manopai, man, and I said that JQ should be blamed for it, but it was wrong. I think that the whole production unit of Hiplife, so I'm talking about the producers, okay, needed to understand that JQ had come up with something that was indigenous and it was authentically and originally ours. Okay, and so all producers should have around that time worked around what JQ had developed.
Okay,
and push that as the Ghanaian sound, because that would have been so unique. That thing was pan logo.
Yes,
that thing was pan logo from the Ghana people. So it was ours, original. But because we are always thinking competition, instead of working as a collective, everybody wanted to find a way to kick him out and take the spot. So we were not smart enough. We didn't think as much. And you see, the thing is, until recently, people were working in the music industry who had degrees. We didn't think through the whole as business. Everybody was okay with what they were earning. And if you take the spot, everybody's trying to and that was when producers were like hits. You go to appear to basis so. No, I hit no feel. Now JQ a basis so. No, I hit no feel.
Fact.
From producer biaba. No, now Crank Cabana, a friend said,
Richie was where pay, yes.
Honestly, no, so I need you see, into we're not really working as a collective. Yeah, who say at that time, no, we needed to present something to the world. You see, when you listen to reggae music, Yeah, when you listen to reggae music, they sound almost the same.
Exactly.
They sound almost the same. But what people said, we're Jamaican music. But today, there are, see, when you listen to the Hawaiian reggae, the reggae from Trinidad, Tobago, Guyana, when you listen to the reggae artists from those places, some of them sound sweeter than Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
But we attribute the whole thing to Jamaica. And see, if we had been smart enough to realize that what JQ had given us was something that we could send to the world because it was original to us, and we found a way to promote it, project it, like improve, build upon that foundation that JQ introduced. And Caribbean, just as South Africa has created Amapiano and Nigeria for Diafano, maybe would have created something that the world would have been clamoring for by now.
Mm-hmm.
You see, maybe the Ghanaian sound would have been something out there globally that everybody's biting from, and it will be attributed to Ghana. So, in my opinion, that's where we made a mistake.
Okay.
Thinking that was a competition.
It should have been a collective movement towards
a collective movement.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Ruth, before you take leave of us, I want to know more about how Hiplife started. Who were there when this
thing needs a whole series. A whole series. Until recently, I think I posted a comment on Mr. Dadzi's post be on Facebook, and then he said we should do. I think that we need some series.
Okay.
We need some series because a few people have DJ Black and YA Bonepa because DJ Rap have some plenty pictures be man maybe some or see on Kai, but DJ Black let it share me on his small iPhone. Because if you have your small iPhone, maybe I don't know, maybe once it was an iPhone, maybe you can find it in your cloud or something. Because I remember some time ago DJ Black returned from Yankee. And he said, come and see, Charlie, make you see something. Showed me like hundreds of pictures that he took from DJ Rap. May he so rest in perfect peace. You know, DJ Rap came in 1994, and at the time, because he had been part of the hip hop movement in America, and he knew how it started and everything. So DJ Rap had like a repository, you know, on Hiplife. But he's gone, and Roston also has them. Roston also has some great amount of, you know, pictures and videos and things like that. Do you get it? So I'm thinking that I was even saying that as part of the 30th anniversary for Hiplife, you know, we can even have, you know, some exhibition where people just donate pictures to be exhibited there. Do you get it? So we need to tell the story and tell it properly. And I think that by his grace, I happened to be there at the time when this whole thing was taking place. I was a young talent trying to find some space within the whole revolution. And I was fortunate enough, I was blessed enough to be a kid from Kutubabi, okay, that I just don't know how it happened, but became one of the boys following Rostone. And fortunately, I sat in the recording sessions of most of the hit songs that Reggie made. Yes, in the studio. I can mention people who came in to back some of the songs and all of that, how the processes and everything. In fact, there's a particular song, Yabanso Visa, Reggie said, I want it like this. So the intro of that song, something I can't remember.
Take it cool. I think
the first line or so, the first few lines, I wrote that. And then went back to Takrady because I had gone to take some radio job in Takrady. By the time I came back, Reggie had, you know, like changed the whole thing into something, you know, Yabanso Visa. So I happened to be around him, observing how things were going. And I mean, being from Kotobabi, rolling with boys who were this exposed. Reggie had seen it all when it comes to hip hop music and had come back home. He had so much to share, so much to give. And I was lucky because I happened to be DJ Rap's friend. Okay. DJ Rap actually came to live around my neighborhood when he first came to Ghana. And a friend, like one of my playmates, introduced Rap to me. Respect Zakor, respect Pigosh. They linked us up, DJ Rap and myself, because they knew that I was into music. They were not into music. They love music, all right, but I was heavily into music. So they connected me to DJ Rap. And then I became somewhat a tour guide to DJ Rap. So DJ Rap would never go anywhere without me. Fortunately, we had a video camera, like this small camcorder, that, at some point DJ Rap said, capture me, and then I'll capture him, and things like that. And then one night, I took DJ Rap to the Miracle Mirage nightclub, where we used to have Fox FM opposite Strawberry in Adabraka. That used to be Miracle Mirage nightclub. So we're at the club that night when Reggie and Freddie from Stone came in, in the company of a gentleman called Home Base. If anybody happened to be in Kumasi Tech those days, back in the
I think Queen Soul.
There was a gentleman called Home Base. His name actually was Henry. Henry brought Reggie and Freddie to the nightclub that night, and we met and just became friends. But of course, these were the buggers, that are beasts. I was from Kotobabi, just being friends with DJ Rap. So I had to be sitting and be observing all the things that were happening. So I think that if anyone can tell the hip life story, I am the one. I am not saying this to blow my own horse or to place myself, but we are just lucky to have someone who was an observer.
Wow.
Do you get it?
Wow.
I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I get it.
It's not being boastful. I count myself blessed because I happen to be in that position where, the hardcore boy following the Dada Beast, observing everything that was happening.
Amazing. I think we need to, like you said, we need to have a proper conversation about the hip life era, and also find a way to document everything that happened during that time, so that next time then when there's an article or somebody wants to write something about hip life, the person will get enough facts to back it. Yes. Well, thank you.
See, we should be looking out for a gentleman by name Yao Nyansapo.
Okay.
Yeah, Nyansapo is putting up a documentary. He's been working on it for years. He comes to Ghana and goes back to New York, from here to Malata. Do you get it? Because he's trying to, gather all the material that he needs. So I'm believing, and he's trying to contact everyone. Everyone. He's not leaving anyone out. Nyansapo is contacting everyone. Nana Nyansapo, you can look him up on social media and something and follow him. Nana Nyansapo. He's contacting everyone because I personally gave him some names, and he's contacted almost everyone. And he's been working on this thing for in fact, the last time I had a personal interaction, sat with him personally, was 4 years or so ago. And he's still working on that project.
Wow.
So I'm believing that his version will be the most elaborate.
Okay.
I think it will be the most accurate.
Okay. Rutai, thanks a lot for joining us this morning. Very, very insightful conversation. I enjoy every bit of it. But is home? You mentioned Home Base, right?
Yes, Home Base.
He used to be a DJ, right?
Yes. Back in Kumasi, he was a tech.
Yes, Queen Soul. I've heard of the name before.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks a lot for joining us, Rutai. We will get back to you. Anytime the conversation of Hiplife pops up, we'll come to the right source and get more information on it.
Let them
yeah, that's what I see.
This is Hitz.